Good morning, everybody, and welcome to, I would say welcome to Coffee with Casey, but what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the predictive analysis that we've basically been using for the last, since 2020. That's really, I can't tell you how many times this has saved us, and I don't think any realtor should list a house without doing predictive analysis. So what happened in 2020, as we all know, everything went dark. We didn't know whether buyers were out there, whether sellers were going to sell. Things were all changing around in every market. So we really lost our visibility on where the pricing was going to be for some of these houses, which is critical. So Billy Samson was working for us, and he said, well, you know, we can check this thing called reverse prospect. And of course, in the articulate way I can only do it, I said, what the hell is a reverse prospect? And we looked at it, and all of a sudden the lights started going off that there was visibility of, are we at the right price? Are we not at the right price? Where do we launch? And so over the next week or so, we put together a predictive analysis that has got us more listings, that has priced the listings where they should be, that has got them sold, at premium pricing, and in a short period of time. And that has propelled us from about $90 million a year to $170 million a year in business. So I credit a lot of that to the predictive analysis. It has saved us time and time again. So let's go over exactly how this works, right? So the first thing we did was we moved our marketing period from when we launch a listing, we moved it back to the coming soon period. So when we launch coming soon, that is full launch. That is cards to the renters, brochures to the sellers, full emails to all the realtors in the predictive in the reverse prospect list. You know, we do full marketing in the coming soon period, okay? And we do that because we're trying to find out how many people are interested in this house, and are we at the right price? Are we at the right buyer pool, right? So if you think about it, maybe your buyer pool might not be at $1 million. Maybe it's at 950, or maybe it's not 950, maybe it's 900. Where is the buyer pool to do this? And, you know, the miraculous thing about the predictive analysis is we all go in and talk to sellers about selling their house. They think it's 950. We think it's 900. How many times have we all done that, right? So a lot of times we would lose listings because I'm digging in. It's a $900,000 house. But now with the predictive analysis, it allows you to test the 950, not lose the listing, test it. If it doesn't test well, then you can move to your 900. So I can tell you that of the listings that we lost listings at listing appointments because we said one number, they wanted another number. A realtor would come in behind us and go, oh, it's definitely $950,000. I think it might be $1 million. Well, those listings that we normally lose because of that, we don't lose those anymore. We say, I'll tell you what we'll do. I think it's 900, but we're going to test 950. We're going to put it out there. We're going to do all this marketing, and I'll go over all that here in a minute. We're going to test it. If it doesn't test well, we're going to adjust back to 900. And they're like, deal. So instead of saying, I'm going with Compass because they promised me a higher price, they're saying, I'm going with you. I like your plan, and you're allowing me to test 950. So if there's one huge benefit about the predictive analysis, you will not lose listings to agents that try and overprice a house, okay? So let's go over how this works. All right, so, I'm supposed to click this forward. So the first thing that you want to do is when you go to Bright, this is the first thing that's going to show up on your screen, right? And down here you'll see the hit counter. All right, my hit counter is important. That is going to show you all of your listings, right? All of your listings, and so you've got your MLS number, as I can see this right, it looks like your property address, then the price that you've put in there, the date that you put it in, and that first list, how many agents have stored searches in that for that house. Okay, that's the first list. I do not consider that to be the buyer pool. The next list where it says client views, these are clients that have opened up the email and maybe opened it up multiple times. That's your buyer pool. So if we look up on the top one, right? The top one is 159. Am I reading that? Yeah, 59. And let me just get a little closer. No, that's That's this one. All right, so it's 135. And you have 7 people. So 135 people opened up the email. That's your buyer pool. 7 people have favored it, okay? Those hearts that, you love, this house, that's an important number. Because I'm going to show you that the number of people that love this house or favor this house are in direct proportion to how many contracts you're going to have when you come in. So if you have 10 or 15, you've got some contracts coming in. If you have 2 or 3, you don't have contracts coming in. So all of the elaborate thing I'm going to go over today, this is basically the core and the most important thing that you can look at. If you only have, like I have somebody says, no, I got a house that's priced correctly. And I said, well, let's just check it. So I go back, I look at his hit counter or her hit counter and find that there's 0 favorites. You launched a house and nobody was favoring the house. You should have known before you launched that listing that nobody was going to buy the house at that price, right? So during coming soon, this is what I'm watching. I'm watching this number right here. What's your buyer pool? 135. How many favorites do you have? 7. How many possibles do you have? 1. Okay? Now, this is what the buyer pool looked like in February. Okay? So you see how it has all the, let me go down the buyer pool so you know it. 1126 was the buyer pool for Grassy Hill. 856 was the buyer pool. 821 the buyer pool for Hines. And look at how many favors there were. 66 people favored that house. We had 28 contracts, right? So Pebblebrook had 40. So yes, we had massive showings, we had massive contracts, because I knew that was going to happen basically before we even went off. Well, Casey, why don't you raise the price? I don't need to raise the price, because if it's worth $250,000 more than I'm putting it on for, I'm getting the $250,000. We're getting all of it. We're not going to leave a dollar on the table. We're going to get all that money. So the only thing you can really do is overprice it and have no buyer pool and have nobody coming in the house. I can't sell a house if nobody's walking in the door. I just can't do it, right? I don't care how good a salesman you are, you can't do it. So this was then. Let me go back to now, okay? Well, we don't have it on here, but I'm going to tell you in my PowerPoint it did. But the now is buyer pools are at 130, 150, 180. People that like it maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So the buyer pools are smaller now than they were before, and so it's more important that you identify. Come on in. You come on in if you want. So you need to identify the buyer pool in order to sell that house. So our first step before we do anything is go to your hit counter, look at it. What's your buyer pool? What's your number of favorites? How many possibles do you have? Now, for some houses that kind of look better than they are online, and they have what I would call fleas maybe, they have certain things wrong with it. Maybe the lot isn't that good. Maybe it's next to traffic. Maybe it's not as pretty inside as it really should be. Maybe it's old. Maybe it's dated, whatever it is. I need more people that love that in order to launch, because the ratio is if I have a house that's really perfect, then if 2 people walk in, I'm getting 1 contract. Guaranteed. If 5 people are in, I'm getting 3 contracts. But if it's, when you get there, it's got fleas, then I need 12 people to love it to get 2 contracts, right? So that ratio is in direct proportion to how really nice is that house that you have. So when you hit one of these houses, right, on that list, you just click on your MLS number. You go down here to the bottom, and you'll see the reverse prospect, okay? Everybody see where the red box is down there? So at the bottom of your listing, now we're going to get granular. Hit that reverse prospect, and you're going to see the agents and who loves, I'm sorry, Justin, I'm not used to working that. Now you can see the hearts of the agents who have clients that love your property. Now, let me tell you something. Those agents do not know that that client loves that house. You got to call them. You got to call them. If there's 40 people, I don't really care. I got plenty. I don't need to call them. But when you have 7 people, you better call every one of these agents and go, look, you got a client that loves this house. I'm going to send it over to you so you know all about it and blah, blah, blah. Just keep, you've got someone loving this house. You might have a sale on your hands, right? And this client may have been on 6 months ago, and you're not, I don't know who the client is. You got to find out. Who do you have a storage search going out with these criteria? So now when the market is tighter, we need to call all of these agents. I got their phone number right there on the right. So you just call them up and go, hey, Ann, I see you've got somebody. They really love our house. They may be interested. Go through your buyer pool and find out who you have a storage search that may love this house. Okay? So this, when I look at this, I'm like, yeah, we're good. I got plenty of people who love this house, plenty of people that like it. I can actually, the cool thing is, look at the Samson agents on here. There's a Samson agent, there's a Samson agent, there's a Samson agent. So really, the good thing about Samson Properties growing is a lot of people that show our houses are Samson agents. And Samson agents work hard to sell Samson Properties houses. So especially if you go down here and you'll see somebody says, I might be interested. Yeah, well, that Samson agent's getting a call too. Everybody's getting a call. So during this coming soon period, now remember, we go coming soon, we blast the marketing in coming soon, but this is our first stop. These are people that have stored searches in the MLS that are looking for this house. Same size, same age, same price range, same location. This is a good buyer pool, good place to start, okay? So if you go no further than this and you just utilize this one tool, then you can do a predictive analysis for your seller. Now, let me tell you, when I'm doing if we price this house right, we're going to sell it right away, and we're going to get a lot of bids, and we're going to get no home inspection. It's going to be a wonderful thing. But if it goes on and it doesn't sell, and it's 30 days, it's 30 days of hell, right? And then when you get the contract, now you got a home inspection. Now it's another hell. And then it kicks out, and you got to go back on the market. See what I mean? There's a difference between heaven and hell in real estate. Heaven, get 8 contracts in the first 4 days, get your highest price, be a hero, have no home inspection, have no appraisal, have no contingencies, have backup contracts, right? Because the first contract may say, I don't know what I was thinking. I was drunk that day when I did that contract. I'm getting the hell out of here for whatever reason. I'm out. I'm calling number 2 and going, hey, man, you got a break. Do you want the house? This is the price. This is the terms. I don't hear a peep at you if you get this house, right? It's like, hey, man, I'm in, right? So we slide somebody in behind the top agent, right? The top contract, and nobody knows the better, right? So that's heaven. Hell is going on the market, and nobody's looking. Nobody's showing it. No contracts. Sellers looking at you saying, I thought you said this is what it was worth. Because I can tell you a lot of agents go, oh, I can get you, really? What if you don't? I never say I can get you anything. I never say that, right? I don't promise anything. We say, here's where the buyer pool is. That's all I'm looking for. You get me the buyer pool, and through our contract negotiations and our strategies and all this other stuff in our marketing, we will handle those contracts to arrive at the highest number and the best possible results for the seller. So we have heaven, then we have realtor hell. Realtor hell is sellers looking at us going, I thought you said, maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's not my house. No, it's your house, and it's the price. You just didn't price it right. So if ever there is what is the secret sauce? Having the right price. This gets us the right price. Everybody understand that, right? And so as I go through all the rest of this predictive analysis, we're going to have a showdown. Not a showdown. That's the wrong word for it. We're going to have a meeting on the Tuesday before we launch our listing. And we're either at the right number or we're not at the right number. Now, I don't like to make those phone calls either. I don't like to tell people, hey, we got to drop your price $50,000. Because that's a shock to most people. And I'm going to show you in a minute how once I show them what I show them, then they're going to go, oh, you're right. Go ahead and do it. No problem. Just do it. Please do it, right? So we're going to get to that. But right now, this is the core of your predictive analysis. Is everybody cool with that? All right. So these are all of the emails that are going to go out. So when we go on at Coming Soon, we're going to send an email to everybody on that list with your special house, right? Why? Because of the reverse prospect list. Download the list. That's the email addresses of every realtor that has a stored prospect for your house. So that's a targeted list that you can go ahead and send to them. Now, I don't know how you guys do your emails. We use MailChimp. You can download that group right there, put it in MailChimp, and send them a nice form email. And Samson Properties, I'm sure, has a tool for you to do that. So look into, how do I do an email for all the people on my prospect list? Now, what this is going to do is it may get more favorites, more possibles. It may alert more agents to what you're doing. And then the phone calls start. Hey, man, are you guys, can we get in there early? When are you guys going to take contracts? Are you going to take contracts before we list? So that's the kind of chirping and chattering that is going to go into, are we at the right price or are we not at the right price? Is somebody asked me to get in the house early, or do I hear crickets? If I hear crickets, that's not a good sign. That means nobody really cares. Nobody's looking, nobody's coming. You're going to hear crickets, right? So we are definitely looking for that right there. All those emails, everybody on that list, and this, I get this strictly from the reverse prospect that we've already looked at. Download that list, send them a nice email about the house. Okay? So this is another thing that I'm sure Samson Properties has set up for you guys. We do, Julie does all of this for us. So I target audiences. So let's say I have a house in Vienna, right? Well, there are people in McLean looking for the same kind of house. Those houses cost $400,000 more than my house in Vienna. In Arlington, it's $500,000 more than this house in Vienna. So what we do is we target, and Julie does this, I don't. I'm sure Samson has something for you. But we create an ad, and we boost it, and we target the audience we're sending it to places with bigger, more expensive houses. So I get a call on that house right there. That's on Stryker. I get a call, and the guy goes, where the hell is Vienna? I said, well, Vienna's in Northern Virginia. He goes, where is it in relationship to McLean? I said, we're right next door to McLean. He says, holy I've been in McLean for a year looking for a house, and that's it. Now, he was in a penthouse in New York City. He opened up his Wall Street Journal, and pow, that showed up in Wall Street Journal. He goes, that's a miracle. I said, no, that's Google Ads. Google Ads picked your ass up and showed you this ad, right? And he looked at it, he got on a plane, he came down, he paid full price, he bought the house. And to be honest with you, this is the social media portion of the predictive analysis. So I show the sellers this. In this case, 14,000 people saw this ad. And whatever that is, 183 people responded to the ad. And 30 loved the ad. And 15 commented on the ad. And 4 shared it. So what does this tell me? This tells me that the market in Vienna, while it was not that good, social media is eating this thing up, right? This has got some action going on. So I'm hesitating to drop the price if I've got this kind of action going on, right? So this is the, when I say optional, some people may not have access to their own websites or their own, social media, but Samson does. Samson has things that when you get a listing, you can shoot out a ad or, whatever you do. And so you want to hook up with this during your coming soon period, right? Because this is the second portion of your predictive analysis. Is anybody out there that's not in Vienna looking at this house? Yeah, a lot of people are, right? So again, it's the chirping and the chatter that I'm getting as well. So this is a, I don't know how to explain this. When you go to your team website, like our team Facebook, I can go to Insights. And Insights will tell me how many people are clicking through to your website or clicking on that ad, whether it's for pictures or your website or whatever. How many people are clicking on it? And what this shows you is over here that 164 people clicked to the website that I targeted. And everybody else that we didn't target, only 7 people clicked to the website. So when I show the seller, is this really working? Well, if we just sent it out to everybody, 7 people would have clicked through to your website. But because we target people, because we target the buyers, because we use Google Ads, because we use geofencing, because we do that, 164 people went to that website, and the sellers understand that your target marketing works, right? So now, from the social media side of it, we're doing full out blast. We're doing full marketing on this. It is pedal to the metal, right? So this is the social media portion of it. They come to our website, and again, if you have your own website, and I'm not sure if Samson does this, but you can talk to them about it. I have a website for every house that we've created. So what happens is they'll click on that and they'll go to our website. Well, my website says, God dang it, I hate doing this, man. I need an assistant. I need a clicker guy. You know what I mean? I need somebody to click that dang thing because I keep forgetting. So this is what Google Analytics looks like on a website, on our website. So I'll go to Google Analytics and I'll say, we had 213 people come in and look at this house. They stayed for 5 minutes and 54 seconds. This is Google Analytics. They stayed on that thing for 5.5 minutes. Now, that's an eternity in internet time. That means they're looking at pictures and they're going around and they're clicking on things. That's an extraordinary amount of time to stay on a website. So we can also say that not only did 213 people do it, but they stayed for 5.5 minutes. This is where they're coming from. This is the country they're coming from. This is the city they're coming from. This is the age they're coming from. This is very impressive when you're telling a seller that I know where your buyers are coming from, right? I could tell you what age group we're looking at. These are not 50-somethings, they're not 60-somethings, they're 30-somethings and early 40-somethings. So if I can go in and say, I've got the women looking at it, because the women are the real hunters, they're the ones out there looking, and I got the right age group, that we're hitting our target. Because when we go in, and let's say you're the seller, and I have to come to you and I go, hey, it's not 1.4 million, it's 1.35. They're like, well, are you sure? I mean, has it been tested enough? Has many people seen it? It's like, well, I had 213 people come in. We've got the right age group. They're coming from the right cities and the right towns and the right countries. Yeah, they've definitely seen it because they want to know. 14,000 people saw it on the internet. 213 came to this website. I know their ages and their, where they're coming from, and I've got 285 people on the hit count with 8 loves. Yeah, I know exactly who's looking at this, right? Because should I have to come and drop that price, I got to prove it, right? So we're going to take all this information that we look at and we're going to start putting it together. The last thing you want to look at for your predictive analysis, and I'll show you how we present it to, well, I'll show you how we present it to the seller. This is showing time. Anybody coming? Right? Tuesday or Wednesday. Anybody coming? We're launching tomorrow. How many people do we have coming? If we have 15 people that have logged in and they want to show the house as soon as it goes live, I'm good to go. If I have 2, I'm not good to go. We're throwing the brakes on this sucker. Because when all is said and done, everybody on the internet can love it. Everybody can have hearts on the hit counter. Everybody can be excited. But 2 people are coming on showing time. So the most important part of the predictive analysis is the final piece, and that is how many people are really coming. Anybody? So as you can see, you go to your showing time, you say, how many showings do I have? Sort them by the listings, and you can say this listing has 12 people coming. I'm good to go. We're good to go, right? So now comes the time that we've had 2 showings, we've had 4 hearts, we've had not that many click through, right? All signs are we have a small buyer pool, we have no favorites. This is showing them we really don't have the favorites. These are the agents. All these agents have been called. This is your social media. We've had this many people see it online. This many people like it, love it, and favorite. But right here it says 2. We have 2 showings. We are not at the right number. We do not have the right buyer pool. We can't launch at this number. That's Tuesday, okay? Now, I told you that, I'm sorry, again, I need clicker guy. That's what it looks like. These are the things I'm going over, and I Zoom them on Tuesday. I don't want to Zoom on Tuesday. I don't want to talk to the seller on Tuesday. I don't want to tell him we got to drop his price $50,000. I know he's banking on that $1.4 million. But that's not your number to start with. I'm not saying you're not going to get $1.4 million, because I'm going to show you that in a minute. I'm not saying you're not going to get it. I'm just saying that's not where we're going to start. That's not where the buyer pool is, right? So the toughest part is that Tuesday call. And I've got all my information in line. I can show you everything. Now, before we started this, I had prepared the seller that we'll test that number. Don't get married to it. We're only dating it. We're not married to that, right? We're just going to date it and see how it works out. Doesn't work out, moving back down. So be prepared. So I mean, even though I don't want to do this, I've kind of prepared them that this is what's coming. This is the dogs on the roof, right? So dogs on the roof, be prepared. So now we come in and it's like, you got to drop the price. I know you want a 1.4, maybe a little more than 1.4, but that's not where your buyer pool is. We got to go back to 1.35. And they got to make a decision. They're going to make a decision. Should I do that? Does this guy know what he's talking about? Or are we just going to ride it at 1.4? Right? And then I show them this. Okay. So I don't know if you can see this, how big it is, but this is a list of 16 houses that did not test well. This is 16 homes that we listed that did not test well. Okay? The top 13 adjusted their price, and the red number that you see there, that's where they went down. So let me just go to the first one. The first one is Silkwood. We had a coming soon price at 1.45. That's the number that the seller wanted, 1.45. That did not test well. We moved it to 1.4, okay? We found a buyer pool. We got contracts in. It sold for $1.55 million. $100,000 more than they wanted, $150,000 over the list price. And the list goes on. And then, what is it? That's Sarah Renner. She goes, stats tell, stories sell, right? Stats tell, stories sell. So I have some stories in this top 13. They'll knock your socks off. Every one of them. I don't want to drop the price $50,000. I'm just telling you, I'm not saying your value is going down. I'm just saying the buyer pool is not at 1.4. It's at 1.35. We go to 1.35, we got 1.5. We had one house in Centerville. You know, not a lot of people are looking for $1.4 million houses in Centerville. So their neighbor got 1.43, and of course they think they're better than the neighbor, right? So we got to do 1.4. I'm not going low. Okay, well, let's just test it. All right, there's nobody there. There's 2 showings. Beautiful house, 2 showings. Nobody's coming. We need to get to 1.35. Okay, we got 1.557, $207,000 over list price. Stories sell. So now the seller is getting more comfortable that 13 people agreed with me and did the right thing and became a gold standard listing. So we call it a gold standard. A gold standard is if it's prepared and it's priced and you listen to us on predictive analysis, and then you do a 6-point inspection, which that's another seminar altogether. But if you do those things, you're a gold standard, and trust me, this is what happens to the gold standard, right? So each one of these, the average price reduction was $48,000 on these 13 houses. The average sales price over list price was $141,000. So which means we went back 50 and went up 141. So we got $100,000 higher than what you'd originally asked for. Does that make sense? So now, again, stories, the bottom are the 3 that did not. The 3 houses that said, no, I think we're going to ride it out at 1.4. Okay, all right. But up in here, there's a house on Tallahassee. And Tallahassee went from 1.4 to 1.35. They got 1.55. Its neighbor was bigger. Its neighbor. This is a house right next door. They were bigger. We were at 1.4, and we told them you need to adjust down. It's not, you don't have a buyer pool here. They said, man, I don't think so. So they got 1.385. 1.385. That's a bigger house. That's the bigger one. And the smaller one that did what we said, they got 1.55. They sold for $165,000 higher than their neighbor who was bigger. And it's because this house found the buyer pool, that house did not. This house listened to us, that house did not. So the question is this. We do want to be in the we do want to be in the top 13, right? We don't want to be in the bottom 3 because the average percentage of assessment was 133% on the ones that listened, and on the ones that did not listen, same time period, it was 114%. That's a 20% difference in final price for those who listened and those who did not. It's almost impossible to say, no, I want to join the guys on the bottom, right? So our job is to make sure that we help the seller arrive at the proper price and the proper buyer pool for their house. We're not tricking anybody. We're not trying to talk you into something. No, we're trying to help you. That's why we're here. Other agents tell you this. That's not correct. 40% of the homes will withdraw that were listed after July 1. Anybody can sell a house before July 1. After July 1, 40% of the houses are going to withdraw. We're going to go right back to 2019. 40% will withdraw. Why? Price is too high. How do we get the seller to be realistic about pricing? Fine. So I've got pricing models, and I kill myself with these pricing models, and they want this and I want that. And before 2020, before Billy said reverse prospect and we came up with predictive analysis, I would lose that listing. Because you know what? You might be going to hell, I'm not going with you. I'm not getting on that boat. In my opinion, I tell the sellers, you're either driving the bus or you're going to get hit by the bus. Now, I'm not going to be standing next to you when you get hit by the bus. Because if you put on for that price, you're going to get hit by that damn bus. And I know because in 2019, 2018, I tracked every time I knew a house should have been here. They priced it up here. I followed them. I got them, right? So 10% sold. Sold at where I said, or maybe a little below. The rest of them all either withdrew, expired, we're 100,000 under that price. Once your house is on the market for 100 days, you're screwed. You are now the bait, right? You are the bait, and the bottom feeders are going to get you, right? It's old, it's stale, it's just stale. Something's wrong with that house. No. My opinion is a house, and it's the correct opinion, a house should sell in its first weekend. That is when you have the most competition, the most buyers, the highest prices, no home inspection, no appraisal, backup contracts. That's the time to get it. So when my house don't sell that first weekend, me and the sellers are we're a little freaking out. We are going back and making phone calls and getting everything going, but I'm conditioning them that that's when it should sell because that is when it should sell. And should we do the correct predictive analysis? If I have 13, well here, let me see if this works. The blue are the number of people that favor the house. The green are the number of contracts I had on those houses. So if you have 15, if we have 14 contracts, if I have 14 people that are favoring the house, I got 8 contracts. What's that called? That's realtor heaven. We got 18 contracts. We're driving the bus, right? Now at 1.4, we have no loves, we have no contracts, and we're going to get hit by the bus. Now the key here is you will get more money and better terms for that home if you just find the right buyer pool. And the predictive analysis will help you guide the seller to where the buyer pool is. Where's the buyer pool? I don't know. This is what it should be worth. I don't know if there's a buyer pool there right now. Since 2020, I have no idea, right? But we're going to find out. And in those first 7 days, we're going to find out. And then on Tuesday, I'm going to give you a call. And we're going to be very thoughtful about this. We're not going to get emotional. And when you say, well, I really wanted 1.4, and I say we got to drop to 1.35, I bring out that sheet that says, well, we average 140,000 over the list price once we adjust. Now, is that market still here? Not really. It's not that big, but I can tell you we're still getting 100,000 over list price. and we're still getting 150,000 over list price. It's still happening on good houses. It's one house I'm going to put on Vienna. I guarantee you, if they let me put it at the right buyer pool, I'll have 8, 10 contracts. They'll be fighting over that house. We'll get 150,000 over list price, and won't have any problems whatsoever. And we're going to do it not because I walk in and say, I think we should put the house on the market for, 1.45, because that's what all my models say. It's like, nope. I think the buyer pool is at 1.45. Well, we're hoping for 1.5. I think we should test 1.45. If we get a huge buyer pool there, trust me, they're going to go way over 1.5. Way over 1.5. But we need to test it. But what if it's not at 1.45? Right? Market's getting softer. So I can tell you that in Virginia Run, the prices were at 122% of assessment in May. Right now, they're 115% of assessment. So they are not getting that extra 7% bump we were getting in the spring, right? So we need to be very thoughtful today about how we're pricing houses. We're basically going off of, because the prices have fallen, we're going off of what are the homes under contract and what are the active homes. What are they telling us? I know these are saying that it's 122% of assessment and such and such a square foot, but that was sold in May, in April. This is a different world right now. So I'm more concerned with what are the percentages of the homes you went on for 1.4? That's 115%. You got under contract? Okay, so you're getting 115. You went on for 120 and you're at 22 and you're not under contract? Okay, you're not getting that, right? So it's telling me it's closer to your number of 115 than 122, right? So again, I'm going to give an estimate of where I think the buyer pool is, and that's what we're going to test, and that's where we launch. And then we look at our hit counter, and we look at our loves, and then we call the realtors and contact them, and then we get the social media going, and then we send the cards out to the renters, and then we send it, we do all that marketing. I'll see you on Tuesday. Is this the number? I don't know, but we're going to find out, right? So it takes out that air of you have one number, I have another number. We're not going to fight about it. I just think this is where the buyer pool is, but we'll see if there's a buyer pool there. I can do that. So I don't lose those listings anymore. And that's why you go from 90 million to 160 or 170 million, because you're going to get more, they're going to sell faster, everybody's going to talk about it, you're going to get $150,000 premium, and then I'm going to tell everybody about it. Your neighbor, I just sold a $150,000 premium on that house. And that's how the phone rings, and that's why it comes back. And it's all due to predictive analysis. That is the secret sauce of how you go from 90 to 170, how you get the listing instead of losing the listing, how you price it correctly and you stay in real estate heaven and not real estate hell. And if you get all these people through the house and you don't get it, we have 4 phases. The first phase is that first wave coming in, multiple contracts and all that good stuff. But again, we need to set expectations with the seller. Okay? Maybe they're not all going to sell. Maybe your house might not sell that first week. Second week, we be patient. We have the Monbacks. And the Monbacks are people that saw the house, liked the house, but didn't want to get in a bidding war over the house. But they're keeping an eye on it, right? So they see, didn't go under contract, there's no bidding war, I really like that house, let's go back. So the Monbacks come in week 2, right? By week 3, we start promoting the fact that, hey, our house might not be that easy to sell. We might consider a contingent on a sale of a house that is easier to sell. So there's a massive market out there. They got a house to sell, right? That's a huge buyer pool. So once they see that we're in that week 3 and we can't be picky, now we're willing to open it up to those of you that have to sell a house in order to buy this house. Now, we get our price, you get your terms, right? You give me your price, our price, and we'll give you your terms. So that means, it may delay our settlement for 30 days. But I'll assess their house that they're going to sell and make sure that that house is priced correctly. And you look in the neighborhood and go, oh, they're selling 4 days. Ours is a little more difficult to sell. So let's bank on their house selling. As long as you price it at the price that my pricing model says you need to price it at. Okay? So that's week 3. Week 4, the market has already discounted your house. If you were at $1 million, they've already, any contract that comes in right now is not coming in $1 million. They're coming in at $950. Let's jump into that buyer pool at $950. Let's relaunch at $950, and let's get as many buyers as we can, and they may bid it back up to $1 million or more. So many times at that 30-day process, when we come back, so in other words, I guess what I'm saying is have a plan for if plan A doesn't work, then you got to have plan B, and then plan C, and then plan D. So we're not just sitting around going, I don't know what to say. You're looking at the phone going, I don't know what to tell them. I do. We're waiting for the mon-backs. Be patient. Okay, the mon-backs period is over. We're going to start marketing for people that are looking to, have a contingent contract. That's our next phase. Let's work on that. And then at 30 days, like, oh, you want me to drop? No. The market's already dropped your price. A contract's coming in, but it's not coming in at $1 million. It's coming in at $950. Why don't we go to $950, introduce it to a whole new buyer pool, and see if somebody at $950 won't bid that sucker up to $1 million? And that's phase 4. So that's kind of, the secret sauce, how it happened, how we deliver it, the benefits of in the listing appointment, the benefits of what we say when we're trying to get them to adjust to the right price on Tuesday, launch it and let her rip. And then if it doesn't happen, if 20 people walk in that house and they don't like it, we need to wait for phase 2, mon-backs. Phase 3, open it up to other people that have, we can send an email to all those agents and go, if you have somebody that loves this house and needs to sell a property, that's okay. We'll consider contingent, again, back to the reverse prospect list. We'll consider a contract contingent on the sale of a house. Oh, really? So there's your buyer pool. You just told them, now I'll consider that, right? And then the next one is, it's 30 days. We have had no bites. We're going down to a bigger buyer pool. Does that make sense? All right. So I think that's about it. Let me just check. I think that's it. Okay? So with the years of experience and the experience we have and blah, 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 I would never, ever, ever launch a listing without doing a predictive analysis because you just don't know. It's like walking in the middle of the street and not looking both ways. I'm going to look to the left, look to the right. Not easy, but I'm definitely going to look, right? But and if no cars are coming, I'll go out, right? But doing it without a predictive analysis, you're working in the dark and you're walking out in the street and you're not looking both ways. And you know what's coming? The bus. I said, we don't want to get hit by the bus, right? We want to be the bus. We want to drive the bus. It's a lot safer in the bus. So anyways, so my advice to the sellers is it's better to just drive the bus. Hop in the back seat. I'll drive. All right? Does anyone have any questions about what we've gone over? Yes, Daliera. It's rock star.
Oh, thanks. 1 second.
Daliera's taking notes. Let me just say one thing. So if you look in Samson Properties over who the top agents are in Samson Properties, the number 3 agent in Samson Properties drove all the way out here and is sitting right there taking notes. Now, I don't know how many agents we have at Samson Properties, but this is a good sign that's why she's number 3, because it's what you learn after you know it all. You can always learn something else. Yes, Daliera.
Yeah, thank you, Casey. I love you for that. Is there a price count that you come up with? Like, do you like to go like, let's say 925, 950,
Right.
975, or you going by tens?
Yeah, by 50s.
By 50s?
I'm going by 50s. Yeah, now, so if you get under 800, then you might go 75s. But the biggest buyer pool is at the 100,000. That's the big buyer pool. And then 50 is the next biggest buyer pool. And then 25s are minor buyer pools. So our average might be $1.3 million. So we're usually at $50,000 increments. And so here's a perfect example, Daliera. We started at 875, and that's what they wanted. Didn't work. So we dropped to 850. I only dropped to 25, but that's a major threshold. right? That's a major buyer pool. So we did only drop 25,000, and we got 961,000 for the house. So in that case, we only dropped it, but I knew I only had to go down 25 to get to 850. So that's where they are. 700, 750, 800, 850. So at $50,000 increments.
And what if they want to list as soon as possible? How do you
Right.
fight it?
Do you want to get hit by the bus?
Okay.
There is a ton of money at stake. Now, I will tell you, if you want to do that, that's fine. But we're going with my price, right? If I say it's between, if I say the buyer pool is between 1.35 and 1.4, if you want to test 1.4, that's fine. If you want to go immediately onto the market, we're going to 1.35. And I'm digging in because I'm not going to hell. I'm not going there with you, Not going to walk out in the middle of the street, get crushed. And I swear they will just blame you. You could, our average, you could do whatever, 100 million or whatever, and your average days on market is 4, and your average thing is 133, and everything. But if something goes wrong, it's your fault. It's like, ain't gonna blame me.
And another question.
Yeah.
Sir. Do you actually go to the sold properties, and do you actually look physically at the lot, like when you use it as a comp to show to the seller?
Right. So that's a good question. So we do look at the comps. We look inside. We look to see whether they're dated or updated, whether they're renovated. So the condition of that house. So if you're looking at 4 properties and they're all renovated, it's like, holy shit, we don't look that good. So you've got to rate yourself. So the model says it's 1.2 million customary. Well, are the comps customary? Because I got to be customary to those 4. So I will look at all of those, not really looking at the lots as much as I look at the size, right? So if mine is 8,000 or 10,000 square feet, and the average is 25,000 square feet, so then I will give it a lot discount, right? Or a lot premium. So if it's a premium lot, you get more money, and I'll add that on. So I do that when I go out to do a visual inspection of the house. It's like, whoa, there's no backyard. And they'll go, yeah, but I got a big side yard. Yeah, nobody likes side yards. That's not where the kids are playing. Kids play in the backyard, and your neighbor's right there. So that's a lot discount. Now, let me tell you how you find that out and what I do. I find out when you bought your house. Okay, you bought your house for $1 million. Well, the other houses were selling for $1.05 million or $1.01 million. So you bought it at a discount for the lot. Now, you can't expect to sell as everybody else, because when you bought it, you had a $100,000 discount. And that's more of a pricing issue than anything else, right? So I do look at lots. And again, when we send out cards to everybody and says, hey, homes in your neighborhood are selling for 115% of assessment. 115% of your assessment is $1.25 million. It varies based on updates, condition, lot, and buyer, and the current market conditions. Okay, so the answer to your question is, yeah, we do look at the houses. Yes, we do look at the lots, and I will assess a lot premium or a lot discount. Now, the other thing I'll do that you guys need to consider too is there's a big difference in a house whether it's a walk-up or a walk-in, right? If you got to walk up a flight of stairs and you're walking in at the garage level, that's a walk-up. That's not a walk-in. You don't drive into the main level of the house and just walk in. So there's a big difference between a walk-up and a walk-in. And again, I'll go back and show that you paid less for your house than the market conditions at the time. So I'll do a market analysis of what that house would have sold for in 2014 when you bought it. Okay, this house is worth $1 million. You bought it for $925. You know why? Because it's a walk-up. And it's best we learn that right now. It's a walk-up, okay? So I look at all that stuff down here when I do it. But again, I can give you my best estimate on what this thing is worth, but until I find out the buyer pool, they're going to decide. Look, there's been some crazy stuff going on. Like, I think a house is worth 1.5, 1.525. We get 1.65. Go figure. Get a lot of people in the house, let them bid it out. They'll tell you what it's worth. So, It's been crazy. It's been pretty crazy. So our job as listing agents is to get as many people in the house as possible and field the contracts and analyze the contracts and try and get them to bid the highest. Just real quick, right now there aren't as many contracts coming in, so we use what's called highest and best offers. So on that one Silkwood house that you saw, we had one contract. They came in at 1.4 with an escalation clause. And we said, no escalation clause. I need your highest and best offer. And the reason I said that was because the agent called me up and said, hey, my buyers are very anxious. Have your sellers looked at the contract? And all I said was, anxious? And he said, yeah, they've lost 5 houses. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna need your highest and best offer. Pretty much need your highest and best offer. Within a half hour, they came back at 1.55. They bumped their own offer $150,000, took out the home inspection, took out the appraisal. They were the only contract. Psych! So, and again, let me just say this. That was the first weekend. I couldn't have pulled that in the second or third weekend. You can in the first weekend. Give me one contract, and they'll at least think, hey, all contracts are due Monday at noon. I need your highest and best offer, no escalation clause, and we'll select one at noon. I didn't say you're the only contract, but I don't allow escalation clauses. And cases like that, they pay me to get them the highest price. That's what we do. So that's just a part of that. Again, is another reason why we need a predictive analysis. Stories sell, right? So when you tell that to a seller, that has a big impact on them, and they want that to happen with them too. That tells them that you're a competent contract negotiator. I want the listing, right? I fight for every listing I get. Nobody says, you're Casey Samson. Just take the listing and do whatever you want with it. You're the guy. I'm telling you, we got good, Khalil Al-Gould walks in. He's a beautiful looking guy, man. You got beautiful women out. They got big, hair, look great. All these agents, very attractive agents in Vienna. Very attractive agents. Oh, we're going to interview 4 or 5 of them. I come frumping in, a big old fat boy going, all right, here's what we're going to do. Here's the plan. Trust me, this predictive analysis is what the predictive analysis conquers good looks. Right? I'm from Long and Foster. My name is Diane blah, blah, blah. I married Wes Foster's son, Boomer. I'm now Diane Foster. And I'm a big realtor in Vienna. And I got big jewelry shop. Khalil looks great. I'd marry him myself if I was into that. But I mean, he's a good-looking guy. Talks. This is what I got to fight with, right? I'm Compass. I'm a top agent of Compass. Oh God, fuck that shit. I'll tell you one thing: predictive analysis will knock them on their ass. So that's what I'm saying. This gives us. We all want a. What's the word I'm looking for? We all want a differentiator. What makes me different from the guy that walks in here next, or the woman that walks in here next, with the nice jewelry and the nice purse and the good hair and the nice, who looks good and talks well, right? What's the differentiator? I'm going to tell you where your buyer pool is, and I'm going to get you about $150,000 over. I'm going to get you the highest possible price. And let me tell you a few stories. And when we're done, they're going with us, even though we ain't the best looking group. Although my daughters are beautiful, and Billy, very, very attractive guy. Big, financial looking guy. They're got his notebook. And again, that's the one thing I want to tell everybody is, so partnerships are great, right? If you're old, you should be working with younger people. If you're young, you should be working with older people. It's a great counterbalance. I learned from Billy. This whole predictive analysis started when Billy Samson said, who's the 30-something, said, yeah, we can just look at the reverse prospect. What the hell is that? What are you talking about? My daughter, for years I'm going in going, this house really, this house really needs work. You don't know how to tell somebody the drapes look like crap and, the house is dated and we don't want antiques. And, Morgan walks in and goes, your house is very attractive. It is a traditional house, but buyers want transitional. So we're going to take your home from a traditional home to a transitional home with very few minor. Now, she's got the handbags and she's got all that bling. She looks good. So the difference between me and Pat Stack and Lillian Jorgensen is those two go it alone, and they don't see that that house is dated. It looks good to a 60-something, right? That looks fine to me. You know, me and Morgan will argue, yellow wall. Oh, we're leaving that yellow wall. She's like, we're painting that yellow wall. We're not leaving that damn yellow wall. And she's right. And the seller raves about how the house looks and all that. So, you know, part of it is just a partnership. So if you have the, if I get a client that I can't service that client, I need to partner with another Samson agent and say, I'll refer them to you. Give me a piece. You're better at it than I am. Every deal I do is a partnership. Me and Morgan, me and Billy, me and Pat, me and another Samson agent. Samson agent will call me up and go, hey, look, this is $1.5 million in Vienna. I'm smoked. I get smoked in this. You know, can I refer it to you, or can I partner with you, or it's in Centerville or someplace where we're, you know, good at? Then, yeah, because we're going to get it. I mean, 100% of nothing is nothing, right? Mm-hmm. And if you want to get listing, and like I said, there's some really good agents that I have to go in against every single time. Casey Margano, Lillian Jorgensen, they've been here forever. Pat Stack, you know, and you just blow them out, you know. So what I'm saying is, in order to be better realtors, we need to work with people that, like Morgan is introducing me to some things that I was like, no. It's like, wait, what? You know, and she's got to drag the old people kicking and screaming into it. But she doesn't have my gray hair. A 70-year-old person is not going to listen to her when she said, this is what your house is worth. She's not going to listen to you. He'll listen to me. But to fix the house up, we're going to have to listen to her or him or Colby or, you know, one of the agents, Pam. So I do want to emphasize that it's sometimes a two-man job, or, you know, a referral to somebody that can handle it that you can't. So I think we need to set up a network in Samson Properties where if you have a deal that you don't think you can close, you get it into somebody's hands that can and take a percentage of it. And I will say this, ride shotgun, right? Ride shotgun. I would like to be at the listing appointment. You're at it. Come on in. And you can watch the whole process as it goes through. Come on in, Billy. I've been talking good about you. You can. Oh, you have? I've been talking good about you the whole damn time. But that's the spirit I would like to see, because, you know, somebody will call us up and go, hey man, I got a crazy seller and he wants a crazy thing and it's Vienna. It's like, no problem. We know exactly how to handle them and how to put them in. So get it to the hands of somebody in the region or the area and just take 25%. And if you want to learn, then say, I want to ride shotgun. I would like to sit in on the appointment. I would like to listen to the way Morgan or Billy or somebody handles these objections. I would like to see how this works so I can get better. And that's to me the best way that we can all work together. Okay? So you had a question? Oh, she did it?
Oh,
all
last
right.
one.
Oh, you got more notes? Holy shit! Now on the loose.
Like I'm gonna start with the story. So I had a listing, two exactly same comps, same square footage, same condition, were sold for 1.1 million.
Okay.
I go to the listing appointment and I tell we're not in the market anymore, where they sell for 1.1. The seller listens to me. We list at 999. We get a contract on the same day of listing, and they got out per HOA documents.
They got what?
Got out of per HOA documents.
Okay.
Like no contingencies contract.
Right.
And but they used HOA to get out. I couldn't save it. We're going back on the market 3 weeks, no showings at all.
So you're in hell.
I'm in hell, like real hell right now. They hate me. How do you get out of this situation? Like they listened to me. They did exactly what I said. But
Yeah.
not selling.
Okay. So again, markets are different, right? Markets are different. We have a strategy, right? The first week, it's the wave. All right, we got the wave kicked out. Is what it is, okay? Now we're going to wait for the Monbacks. Monbacks are going to come. Give them time. It takes 7 to 10 days for the Monbacks to say, hey, I'm going back, right? So give that a little time. After 3 weeks, say, I'm going to send it to all of the agents and say, we will consider, if you have something to sell, we'll consider a home sale contingency. You have a plan. Right this second, you don't have a plan. You need to go to them with a plan. This is what we're going to do. And then at 30 days, That's not it. Now, my guess is that if you did the predictive analysis and you did 999 and you saw that there was only 2 people going to show it or 2 favorites, that you would find out that 999 is not the number right now, right? Maybe it's 950. Now, I know 950 is a little scary because they sold at 1.1, right? But it's a different market and interest rates and all the rest of this. So the way you get out of that, the way you get out of your hell on that one is just to have a plan. We're going to have them on backs. We're going to open it up to everybody for this. Then we're going to drop the price because the market has already discounted it. And now we want to get to that bigger buyer pool. But the problem was you didn't do the predictive analysis up front, which may have told you that 999 is not your number, right? So we live and learn, right? Every time I do something, I learn something, and that goes to the next one. So what you just learned is, did I do the predictive analysis? Did I see how many people loved it? Did I see how many people saw it on social media? Was anybody calling me? Now, let me just say one other thing as a predictive analysis. Prior to us launching, the 5th element that I didn't have in here is what is Billy, the agent, the listing agent, are you getting any chatter? Are agents calling you? Are buyers calling you? Have you had any sign calls? Are they asking you contract questions? And I'll look at Billy in the Tuesday meeting, and he'll say, I'm on radio silence, man. I'm hearing crickets. I'm like, we got a problem. That's the last straw. I got a problem. Now, with some of them, we do have, 3 people were favoring it, but I got 2 people that are competing for a contract before we even get started. So I'm not going to drop that price, even though I only have 3. So it's the chatter. It's the chatter that's the final straw in determining how many people are seeing it, what's the chatter. And my guess is, Daliera, that had you done the 999 and you did all the coming soon and the marketing and you looked at it, my guess is, and in fact, I would pull it up right now on MLS, on your hit count, and see how many loves you have. Mm-hmm. If you're at 2 loves, you're at the wrong price. We shouldn't come out at 950 or 995. It's 950. Now, I'm not saying we're going to sell it for 950, but I'm going to say that's where the buyer pool probably is. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Casey,
yeah.
Also touch on taking a contract on the first day and
yeah.
not having backup.
Right.
We're only as good as our backup contract. We're kicking out a lot of contracts now. Like, we didn't kick out a contract for 6 months, and now Casey and I have had a couple that kicked out, but fortunately we went through the weekend. We didn't take that contract on Thursday. Mm-hmm. We went through to Sunday or Monday, and I had 2 or 3 backups. So if the first contract kicks out, you have 2, 3, 4 that are behind it. And we say it in football, I don't know if Casey and I coach, we're only as good as our backup guard, right? So we're only as good as our backup contract. If we take a contract on day 1 and we're in an HOA, even there's no contingencies, they can still back out on HOA docs. So we always say, hold off until Sunday. Let us get everyone in to see it. Because, all of us know once you go under contract and it kicks out, everyone thinks there's something wrong with the home. Right. So that's why we always wait until Sunday or Monday to have backup contracts to prepare for if this does kick out. I have a contract we had a contract at $2,000,001, but we had backups at 195, 19, 185. So if 2.1 kicks out, I still have a 195 behind it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What if you get expiration
Tell them
for
go
the
pound
offer?
sand.
Yeah.
Then you don't love the house.
Yeah, and they're trying to bully.
Then you don't love the
Yeah.
house. Okay. If you look, Daliera, we hear this every
weekend. Yep.
And I don't mean to get upset, but we hear this every weekend. You either accept this contract or I'm kicking it out. Then you must not love the house.
Or you're a bully, and we don't want to. We don't want to.
Do you really want to bully on the other side?
Yeah, we don't want to get married to someone who's bullying us around from day 1, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. That's realtor abuse. Yeah. We're not going to take it. Okay. Right. So that's a great thing. We treat them like gold. We go, hey man, there's a crazy price that got this house. I'm sure you don't want to pay that kind of number. Hang in there. Just be patient. I don't know that this is going through. So don't go anywhere. So they're calling us every 3 days. Hey man, hey man, hey man. Are you through with the HOA? Yeah. Are we through with the contingencies? No contingencies? Yeah. Got 50 grand in deposit? Yeah. Sorry, man. Not going to happen. But if they kick out, I'm going to keep all 3 of you guys. And we don't really do a backup contract per se. We have backup offers, but we don't negotiate on every contract. We'll come to you when one kicks out, and we'll say, okay, you're at 190. You still in? If you're in, we're in, right? So we treat the backup contracts like gold. And we don't just say, you lost. You suck. Your offer was too low, right? No. You are the most important people in our transaction because you give us the stability that we don't have to go buy on their own market and go to realtor hell. We don't want to do that. Okay? That makes sense? That's a good question. Yeah, these are good. I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of stuff. I'm old, but thanks, Billy, for pointing that out. But yes, Dalyra, the most important thing is to wait, be patient with the contracts. They're going to bully you into trying to accept that contract. Do not take it. If they didn't love it, right, they wouldn't threaten to walk away. And if you weren't a bully, you wouldn't be trying to bully me into doing it. I hate that, So anyways, and if we say no escalation clause, and they do have an escalation clause, and they don't remove it, that's fine. But if there are multiple contracts, you're going to the bottom of the list. Because let's say I've got a bunch of them at 950, and you say everybody else did highest and best, and you came in at 900 and 2,000 above everybody else. So I'll just go to the top contract and go, hey, man, go to 192, right? And that'll match what he would have done. But I'm giving you the contract because he didn't follow instructions, or she didn't follow instructions. So that's important. Yep.
We have one question from somebody streaming online. How long do you
somebody's listening to this stuff?
How long do you usually stay in coming soon when you're testing the market?
7 days. We go 7 days. We start on Thursday at 5 o'clock. On Tuesday, we know everything. All the market is gone throughout that weekend. Monday, we analyze. Tuesday, we confirm. Tuesday, we talk to the seller. And then Tuesday, as soon as I get off that phone call, we are changing prices and sending stuff out. And I'll tell you, regardless of whether the market is a good market or a bad market, it's the same. Like in a great market, we went up at 1.4. That didn't test well. We had to go to 1.35, and they got 1.5, whatever. But the same thing holds true today. We had to go back then to get the big price, and we still sometimes have to go back. So I don't think that's changed. It's still critical that we get the right buyer pool. They're just not as big as they were before, so we can't miss. Yes, ma'am. Can you give her a sec? Let me get you a mic.
Before you put on the market, so do you put like all the professional photos, everything?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything is done. When we launch coming soon,
It's the same exact as the real listing
perfect
on
pictures,
the first day. Oh, okay.
perfect brochures, perfect cards, perfect everything. Launch it. Social media ads, everything goes off on Thursday.
So we'll be on the market for actually not 7 days, like from Thursday to Tuesday, right?
No. So coming
Thursday to
soon, we'll go
Thursday?
Thursday to Thursday. But we have our talk with our seller on Tuesday.
Oh.
Right?
So 2 days
then-
earlier than that.
Right,
Okay.
and then the important thing, the reason why you want to do Tuesday is I do Tuesday, so if I have to drop that price to the next number, 950, then I need 2 days to see if that's the number.
Oh, okay.
Now, I don't want to go back to that pool again and say, I got bad news for you, but that's not even the number. So you can't be off by $100,000 bucks. You've got to be off by only 50 grand. So you got to be close enough that if you drop, that's the number, right? But we have had it where they want to push us up here, and I'm like, hey, man, we need to test this number. So this doesn't work. We push back to here. This doesn't work. That's where it's got to be. That's where your buyer pool is. So
So that's 10 days on the market, basically, before
no, it's 7
10
days on it's 7 days on
7
coming
days,
soon.
Thursday.
Thursday
Okay.
to Thursday.
Okay.
Thursday to Thursday.
And then lunch on Thursday. Okay.
Right, and then
I
we
see.
launch on Thursday
Okay.
afternoon at
Okay.
about 5 o'clock. And the reason we do that is because you don't want one contract coming in trying to bully us into, which we get that every weekend. Hey, here's a contract, take it or leave it. It's full price, take it or leave it. Well, I think we might have multiples. If we have multiples, then they're going to bump that price up. So this might not be our best contract, so I'll wait. And I don't say that to the agents. All I say is, Everybody's got to have a chance to see the house. The sellers are taking the weekend off. I told them we'll have contracts for them on Monday. So whatever contract you have is going to be presented on Monday. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Casey.
I know you touched on it before, but what is your best answer when they ask you if you have a contract, but you actually don't have a contract, but you want the,
Contracts are due Monday at 12.
and that's it?
I'm not gonna go over. You know why? Because everybody's like, he said, we said, she said. I've got contracts. I don't have contracts. No. I don't want to get into that conversation. Every agent calls and says, how many contracts? I'm not getting into that. I'll see you Monday at 12 o'clock. Send me your contract in. We're going to present them Monday at 2 o'clock, 12 o'clock. I'm not going to give you that information. It's not my job to give you information. It's my job to get information from you. Anxious? They're anxious? Really? Why? The lender? Oh, I'm calling up to check on Billy and Pam. Pam will interrogate a lender until he, she probably waterboards these lenders, man. She's like, all right, I need some information on this buyer. And the lenders are just, bleh. How many contracts have they submitted? Oh, well, they put in about 5 or 6. Oh, really? Okay, that's information we can use. So our job is to get information, not give information. We give information on the house, but not on contracts. So we don't discuss that. That's just our protocol. We don't discuss it. We ask for contracts Monday by noon. Just send us your contract, and we're going to present them all to the seller. We're not going to go through the weekend analyzing every contract and do it. No. Monday at 12. And again, you're going to get strong-armed if you have the right price and you have multiple contracts, and it's real simple. We need to let everybody sell it. I sent the sellers out of town. I told them we'll talk to them on Monday at noon. No offense. We're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but that's just the protocol. Yeah.
Yeah, hey Casey. So and the market is changing. So like what, like maybe in the past, okay, Monday at 12, but now we don't get offers like that. I mean, when they ask you, what do you say? Like say you don't have any. Like, do you still set up the
So
the
let's take a look at
deadlines?
this. Let's say we're on razor thin and we don't have a lot of showings and we don't have a lot of chatter and nobody's asking us any contracts. I have one contract comes in on Saturday night. Say, hey, we want you to finalize this by the open house tomorrow morning. Do we have anybody else close? Is this our only buyer? We might give that consideration, but that's very much the exception, not the rule, right? So we definitely try and hold to Monday. We don't want to kill a deal. We certainly would never consider a deal on the first day. We have to, and so let's say somebody brings a contract into Billy and he gives it to him on Saturday afternoon and says, it's going to expire. We want to do this before the open house. We don't want the open house. Billy will call every agent or all of our, Morgan, Kelly, whoever, Pam, Pat. So Colby, they'll call every agent and say, you showed the house, take their temperature. You think they have a contract? No, they really didn't like it. Nah, they didn't like it. Nah, they didn't like it. So they've eliminated anyone else that could be a potential contract and say, look, do you want us to turn this off before the open house? Yes. Give me your highest and best offer. It's going to have to knock them on their socks. Right? So now we have the leverage. We have no other contracts, and we're going to use leverage against you to get your highest offer. I mean, full price is not enough to make me stop a home, stop a open house. But if you're 100,000 over, and I know there's nobody else there, and the house may have some fleas, right? Game time decision. But we really want them to do it on Monday. And if we feel we have other contracts, we're going to hold out till Monday. Yeah. All right? Anybody have anything else? Are we good? It's a wrap. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys coming out. Diara, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, guys.